Hello viewers, it's Peter Elgar Photography here. I'm going to give you the second part of how I make my exhibition prints, because I've had some subscribers actually asking for more pictures. Can't believe it. Well, I'm going to start off with a varied collection of miscellaneous pictures, but first of all I want to show you one of my earliest cameras, which is 63 years old. Just to prove you don't need a modern camera to take very good photographs. This is an Ensign Selfix 16x20 Model 1 with only a 3-element lens, but I've taken some really good shots. Now the first one I'm going to show is this one. It's a 20x16 enlargement, and it's taken in London at the Albert Memorial. Now look, the beautiful light on that is great, and that was taken with an Ensign Selfix on FP3 Ilford film, and it won an award, being selected as shown in the East Anglian Federation exhibition. Now some years later I went back with my Pentax 35mm, much more expensive and much more modern, but this is the result I've got, and it's much flatter. Look, you can see there's no much modelling in the images at all compared with the old Ensign Selfix. Now that is because of the light, nothing to do with the camera. The light on the Pentax one here was not slanting so much as when I took it years before on the Ensign Selfix. So that's just to prove it's the light and it's not the camera which makes the pictures. So here we go, a selection of pictures taken with oldies like me. Look, that's one with a 1956 Agfa Isolet with a Solinar lens, and that was on Agfa Pan 100, developed in Rodinau. Now there's loads of sky on that, but this amount of sky is more than the amount of the land, because there's a tiny little figure, minute little figure there on the horizon, which adds human interest, and I thought that came out quite interestingly. Now here's one with a free gift camera. That is a Mamiya C220 I was given by a Camera Club member. It's a stairway in an old house down in Brighton with a clock and the stairs going up. The judge says there was no detail in the black bits, but anyway, I still like it. 20x16 print. This is another Mamiya one. It's our local pond in the ice, and it's a 20x16. I have to lean back a bit to show 20x16s with the ice on our pond. That Mamiya, very good lens, and I've shown you my video about the Mamiya. This is one taken in London with the Mamiya C220. It got a second place at Brentwood District Photographic Club. You may not be able to see, but in the sky there's a small little aircraft going, ready to land at Heathrow Airport, and the London Eye and the Sphinx on the London Embankment. All handheld. I didn't lug a tripod to London. Now this one is a landscape which won me a big trophy, taken in Scotland, going to the Isle of Mull, and it's a tiny little lighthouse with a load of cloud and a bit of black sea, because I used a red filter. But that was taken with a 1963 Ensign Selfix 16x120 that's with my Ross Express lens. That was a very successful picture. Got loads of stickers on the back. First awards, second awards, gold medal from Idi Amin. Now here's one taken on one of my cameras. That was another one I was given by an old gent. That's on a Carl Zeiss Weromatic. Now the guy is actually slightly sloping because I didn't have it up to eye level. I came out of the library and took it at waist level. Well, I could have used it at eye level because he was asleep, and then he yawned. And just as he yawned, I caught him with my Zeiss Weromatic with a 45mm 2.8 Carl Zeiss Tessar lens on out-of-date Jessop's 200 film, which is actually Agfa, and I printed it myself. All these colour prints, I've done them all myself. Now this is a Canon one. At one stage I thought, oh, I'll maybe change from Pentax to Canon as my 35mm, but I love Pentax, so I got a Canon cheap, and that was given some more, so I've got Canon as well, but that is with Canon on a trip to Republic of Ireland, and that was in a shop window when they was celebrating their rugby match. I don't follow rugby, but it got a couple of stickers. Like, there we are, got a certificate of merit and a blue one. Did it all right with Canon. Now this is a famous one. I don't think I've shown you this, but he came to me. He was an actor and he wanted to look like a Russian. So I got an expression looking like he's a member of the KGB. That's taken indoors in my living room where I am now, with old flashes. I've got Bowen's flashes, and it was with a Canon FTB and with a 100mm f2.8 Canon lens on Ilford Pan F. And it's a lovely film if you've got plenty of light, and it enlarged up to 20 by 60. No, pardon me, no problems. Look, loads of stickers on the back. That was accepted. The green one is the Essex International Salon, held at Southend-on-Sea. That's now gone defunct. And I told you before, the Essex Southend Borough Council, they're too tight with their money, they don't want to sponsor it anymore. There's another Canon one, taken at a Filipino festival. I've got the reflection of the chessboard in his glasses. I like that one. That's with a 100mm lens. Got a certificate of merit. I can't remember what film that was. Now this is with a lens I was given. It's an XRAF World War II. Let's get it right. And it's a Kodak Aero Ektar lens. Quite famous. 1943 this lens is. Would you believe it? And it's amazingly sharp. It's just as sharp as a modern Hasselblad lens. I couldn't believe it. It's really for aerial surveillance. But at close-up range on my Pentacon 6, which I got in 1971, Pentacon 6, I bought that 112 quid that was. But this lens was free, given to me by an old camera club member. And he's another actor, and I got him quite a lot of work. He appeared in the film, what's it called, about some witches and the wardrobe, I forget. Anyway, got him a lot of work from that. Now we'll go on to Pentax, and we'll do the dreaded digital. This is a K10D I bought 2007, this K10D. Never used digital before. I'm a digital beginner. But that is a portrait I took of an ex-paratrooper, an old famous, I think he's died now, poor man. But at our Brentwood Remembrance Parade. This is done with, they're all printed with my old Epson R265 stylus printer on cheap Jessop's paper. And this was when I had a Time computer. About 20 years old that computer was, but I found out how to do printing a little bit. So, as I said, I'm no expert at digital. Then I tried this, I tried this digital business in Photoshop 7. That's with the digital filters on some cartwheels. I've had a go, but I don't like this digital business much. This is one of my press photographs taken at an animal sanctuary. A laughing goat. That's with my standard 50mm lens from my film Pentax with a 50mm 1.7 Pentax M lens. See the Pentax, you can use all the old lenses on them. Every year I go to the Irish dancing at our local Irish pub on March the 17th. Here's one taken with bounce flash for my Mecha Blitz with me digital on St Patrick's Day. That was in the newspaper, because I don't get any work from the newspapers anymore. All us freelancers are all out of work. Look at that, that's a poppy on the plaque at our war memorial. And look where I put the poppy, on the intersection of thirds, like I was taught when I was 16 and 15 and 16 at my first camera club. Put the main thing on the intersection of thirds. So 65 years later, I'm still remembering that. And it won an award, would you believe? So there you are, put your stuff on the intersection of thirds, especially if it's a bit of red. It will win you prizes. Then I had to go all the way down to Burnham on Crouch for this press job. The dedication of the lifeboat standard in a church. That was almost at full aperture, no flash, inside with my 50mm 1.7 cheap lens off my film camera on my digital K10D. This is our town band, very famous. That's the Brentwood Royal British Legion Youth Band. And so there, here's one taken at a 1940s event. Look, Winston Churchill was one of the few. It was Royal Air Force. That was another press job I did. Now this is one of my very first ever digital prints, taken at Southend-on-Sea, and with a cheap lens I was given. This was a Prinsflex lens. I couldn't believe it. It's an 80-200 zoom Prinsflex. I thought I was not very good, but it's very sharp. I can't believe it. I've used it for football, loads of professional use, and it's only a cheap Prinsflex lens sold by Dixon's. I must have got a good one, but it's sharp. But this one was my very first ever digital print. Did it win anything? No, didn't win anything. Never mind, we keep trying. Oh, this is another one of my very first digital prints, but this was from a scanned transparency up in Rolleiflex. I'll show you more Rolleiflex ones in a minute. That is Willie Lott's cottage on the border with Essex and Suffolk, very famous place. That's a scanned 2¼ square transparency, and it was on a trial pack of Ilford matte surface digital paper. So then we got to 35mm film Pentax. This is taken in the Philippines because I've got a Filipino wife, I think I told you. We go there quite often. This is a 20x16. That's taken with a 35mm Pentax LX 135mm Pentax lens, and it was on XP2 400 film. Then I went to America with the Pentax Club of Great Britain. We went to a balloon event. What is this? I've forgotten the name of this. Albuquerque, that's right. For you Americans, it's Albuquerque. I probably don't pronounce it right, but I don't speak American English, sorry. That is a balloon festival. And look, there's a filter on that. But it's a refraction filter I tried. And that is it gives you multiple facets. Strange thing, I got that in Japan, that filter in 1973. I won a little prize, and you had to turn a little handle and this little prize thing popped out, and it was a Kenko multi-facet filter, so that cost me nothing. Excuse my bald head. Don't get too much shine off of it. I had more hair when I was 18, but I've got not as much hair now. There's a Pentax 35 in the zoo, look. I call it the prisoner. Poor blinking chimpanzee. Well, at least they're not getting hunted for bush meat. That's all I can say about these poor animals. So, provided they get a lot of interaction with their friends, they're not too bad. Which way up is this? Oh man, this is another abstract one. Here we are. This was using up a film before I took it to be processed at Boots of Basildon. This was on a press job, and they let me use up the film rather than waste it. I went inside the church in Basildon in Essex, and I got that with a Pentax ME Super with a wide angle lens. It's got a second place. Didn't do trim. There's another Philippine one. They're not in any particular order. So another Philippine one's taken out of a moving vehicle. guy there with the balloons in the Philippines. That was a Pentax MX. Now, all my MXs have worn out now. The flash worn out, and I use them with this flash so much, and the shutter's gone. So that's a press job. Southend-on-Sea. I went out with the mayor on a special boat, and to photograph the annual Thames barge race. And that is with Perutz film. No, not Perutz. What do you call it? Konica film. That's the one. Konica home processed print. That is. They're all home processed. That is with the 80-200 lens. And we got a. I remember we went on a trip to Morocco, and my wife didn't like Morocco, especially when we got to Essaouira. She said the towel in the hotel was mouldy, looked like it had been eaten by a dozen goats. But I got a few good snaps in Morocco. It's in Marrakesh, in a street scene with my Pentax LX, and that was out of date Fuji Superior 400. But I downrated it to 200. All came out perfectly. Here's another one. With the LX, you can take the pentaprism off, and then you can look down into it, and people don't know you're photographing. So I've got this lady, and she didn't know I was photographing her, in a side street with my Pentax LX. Then in the back garden, some raindrops. Look, that's close up with my extension tubes. That's on Polaroid HD film. I used to like Polaroid film. It's actually no, it's not the instant one. It's called Polaroid, but it actually was made by Konica. And since Konica's gone broke, all the other films they made have gone broke with them. I call it Nature's Jewels. Did it win anything? No, didn't win a sausage. Not even a sausage. Now here's this is transport in the Philippines. Look, jeepney. Now a load of these traditional ones, they're all disappearing. So if you go abroad and you see traditional things like this, photograph them, because they're all disappearing now. They just have all the little vans, and the transport is cheap, mind you, a couple of pesos. You can go from Brentwood to Romford for a couple of pesos in the Philippines, whereas it costs you £2.50 in England. Load of dosh it costs you. Now here's one I took with my S3 Pentax in London. It's the jazz club called the 100 Jazz Club. That's Acker Bilk, the famous clarinetist. He's long been died now, poor bloke. But I used to frequent the 100 Jazz Club. Never had drugs in those days. Only a cup of coffee, and that was it, mate. You didn't have drugs in this business. Anyway, I don't need drugs. I'm quite uninhibited without sticking needles in me or sniffing white powders. Oh, here we are. There's another press job, 20 by 16. So that's with Pentax ME Super and the 28mm 2.8 Pentax M lens. That was on XP1, so that's so old, but it got accepted at the Essex International Salon, that one. So the judges must have thought. Here's one where it's all blurred. I called it In a Rush because I had it on a Pentax LX in the Philippines, and it started playing up, and it gave me 1/8 of a second when I thought it was going to give me 125th. So the negative was really dense. But when I printed it, I thought, oh, that looks too bad. It's quite artistic and blurred. And blow me, it won loads of awards. I got stickers and that. Exhibited at Malden Challenge Trophy, Thurrock Challenge Trophy. Some of these mistakes can win you lots of prizes. And here's another one, talking about mistakes. Years ago, the 20 by 16 print, I went to London and with a 300mm lens on my old Pentax S3 that I got the lens for 20 quid of a camera club member, a lot of money in those days. He said, oh, I can't get any good results, but it was his fault because he didn't hold his camera properly. So I went to London, I thought, pattern here, look, pattern with some perspective going down. So I took that and I was doing this print on my last sheet, 20 by 16 paper and it was too light, so I thought, I'll blast it, I wasted that sheet of paper. But I know what I'll do, I'll intensify the print. So I mixed up some potassium dichromate, intensify, and stuck it in, and it, oh blow me, it started to go all funny. It went all brown and blotchy and horrible. I thought, oh crumbs. Came out looking like it's printed on parchment paper from 3,000 years BC in Egypt. But anyway, I thought, well, I'll try it. So I mounted it up with this blotchy print, and it won loads of awards. Got accepted at the Royal Photographic Society exhibition 1968. Essex Salon, what year was that? 1970. The Ilford International Exhibition 1969, got loads of awards, and it was published as well in the Pentax magazine. So that's my last sheet of that paper. I thought it was all spoilt, but it wasn't. Then this is a press picture. I took 2 frames of that. One frame I missed the action. The second frame I got it, and that's been published. That is taken with multiple flashes. I had a Mecha Blitz on the front, and I had down below a little sun pack with a slave cell, and that done me well with that Pentax ME Super. Loads of acceptances, Essex International Salon and places. That done all right. Then I went to the Philippines with the Philippines, my camera club there, which is Cebu Images Camera Club. And we went to the Sinulog Festival. And on the Sunday they have a big parade and they go around a big stadium with all the floats and they win prizes. So the camera club people can go out in the middle. So I went out with them and I got this shot with a out of date, all those out of date film that I want to finish up. Out of date Fuji 100 with my Pentax ME Super with a 135mm lens. That won me £2,000 worth of vouchers, that's right, and in the Professional Photography magazine travel section of the year we had to go to London to be presented with it. There's vouchers for the Lowe Pro vouchers, that's right. I never used the £2,000 because how many camera bags and stuff can you get for 2,000? And they said, oh no, you can't use any of our other products we sell like Manfrotto or any other filters that I all know. You can only have Lowe Pro, so I bought a few bags with it. But now we're going to begin the big boy Pentax now. Try and keep these. This is the Pentax 6x7, and this is taken by our woodland I go to every spring. It's not a prize winner, I didn't win anything, but I like the trees with the daffodils down below. That's on the 105mm lens. Pentax 6x7, interior of the church, and I sepia toned it with thiocarbamide. Interior of Southfield Parish Church. Got accepted it for Essex International Salon 1984. And my 2 kids here, the boy's going to university in a few days and the girl's got a nice job, and she didn't go to university, but that's Pentax 6x7 indoors with flash. This is with a 135mm macro Takuma lens, called it Easter Bonnets. Then finishing up the film, I go in the garden, see what's in the garden. Look, there's a tulip. Everybody does tulips. Well, I thought, well, I'll do a tulip with a close-up. That's Pentax 6x7 with the macro lens, and it was outdated Fuji NPC 160. I was given loads of packs of this flipping out-of-date film dated 2002 from a laboratory that went broke. Packs of 5. I've got loads of this colour negative film, all free, and plus a load of slide film, all free. So there we are, another one showing the macro lens on the Pentax 6x7 strawberries. That's on the MPC 160 with Bowen's flash and a reflector. I've got a shift lens. I use it for architecture for quite a few jobs for this client who's selling properties on commercial auction sites. So they went broke, so all that work finished, everything's gone broke, all these companies I dealt with. But I went to a church nearby and used my shift lens to do an interior shot with my shift lens. So I don't think I've got my money back on that, but still, never mind. There's another one with the shift lens, black and white, inside another church. It's all sort of shell. It's an Art Nouveau church we have in Brentwood, up the road in the Worley area. Natural light, but I let off a couple of Mecha Blitz flashes during a short time exposure down below. And this was when I was a tutor at Barking College for photography. I taught Sitting Guilds photography for a while till the 1980s recession. Then everybody, all the tutors, all lost their jobs. All the cutback, we all out of work. Nothing ever lasts in photography. It's a nice little teaching job. Never lasts, couple of years, that's it. But that was one of the students, and I was teaching portraiture, and I took that one with my Pentax 6x7. And now I'll show a few on my Leica. So I've got all these different systems, and I never waste them. I do use them, and we mustn't mix them all up. Oh yeah, here we are. There's a few Leica ones now. I was out yesterday with the Leica, having had service, and the guy stopped me and said, I don't want to talk about the charity, but I want to talk about your camera. And he said, is it a Leica? I said, yes, it's a 1965 Leica M2. He said, can you show me some pictures taken with it? I said, well, they're all indoors. I said, because 1965 digital wasn't invented, so I can't show you the pictures on the back of the camera, can I? I don't know. Anyway, that's Leica. That's in the famous Las Ramblas in Barcelona, where that terrorist attack took place. So we don't know if this person is safe. This is with a 90mm f4 Elmar. Again, bought from a camera club member who went blind and sold me his Leica stuff cheap. That was 75 quid, that lens. God knows what that would cost now. Another one in the Philippines. One of my wife's nieces in her little shop. They've all got these little shops attached to their house. Natural light. That was outdated Konica VX200 on Kodak Endura Glossy. The Leica M6 that is. I've got off a camera club member. Now this is a Leica, but I'm going to show you what. You don't have to have most modern Leica, because this one I bought off a clergyman years ago. This is 1934, this Leica. Leica M Model 2 with an f2 Sumitar lens. Look, 1934, and the film is almost as old, taken in Southend-on-Sea. That was outdated true print film from a 1934 Leica. Here we are, a lady cuddling a toy that she's won at Southend-on-Sea with a 1934 Leica with a Sumitar lens. I know, Sumar, that's right, it's the earlier version than Sumitar, because I'm no Leica aficionado. I just know how to take quite good snaps with me Leica. I know all the technical stuff. Everybody knows all these Leica lenses and vidus and all these funny things off by heart. That's in Italy, Malcacini. I don't know for the Italians, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's opposite, I forget where we went to. Where they have the Limone, that's right. It's the place opposite Limone on Lake Garda. I call it Italian Scene. It had a scooter from, look, and that was on Kodak T-Max 100. And I did that in Homemade Developer FX4. Print on Kentmere paper. Here's another Philippine one, look. That's at school. And they're looking into the school. I call it one, What's Happening? Leica out of date Konica VX200. I've got a load of that film. Oh, another one from Las Ramblas here in Spain. Look, a couple of people, a couple of girls in a shop. Looks like they've been arguing. Oh, this is a Malcacini again. 20 by 16, a biggie, this one, isn't it? Cats and a Castle. Where's the cats? There's the cats, look. But they're not real, they're metal. I put that in, never won anything, but anyway, I still like it. If you've got time, I'll show you a few Hasselblad ones now. Here, look, there's one off of a Transparency. The Lonely Customer, taken at Whitby. I've got to keep these a bit in order because I've got to use these for my lecture at the Camera Club shortly. So, this is from a Fuji Provia Transparency I printed on my old Epson. I've had that for years. Must be 10 years old, that printer. Still works. And I use the cheap inks. Those Epson Clarier inks are fantastic, expensive. But I use the cheap inks, and my one didn't have the chip in it to stop you using the cheap inks which the Epson put in. So I was lucky there. I bought it the month before they chipped it. And now, when I bought my Hasselblad in 2002, this was on the very first roll of film that I took with it. I went over to South Weald. Well, I took some of my wife doing her ironing, and then sitting down doing a telephone. And on the 12 exposure, I went over to South Weald, and I took the lightning tree. That's no longer there now. The forest rangers have pulled it all down, broken it up. Too dangerous, they say, but that's done quite well. Got second place at the club, and that was an Orwo NP22 film. I bought about 100 rolls before Orwo went broke, and I've still got some left now. Dated 1993. That film still works. But that's one of my very first rolls of film on the Hasselblad. Then I went on a trip to Lake District. I did one of my famous toned pictures. Hasselblad with a 50mm Distagon on Ilford XP2, and that's Kentmere Kentona. I have a few sheets left, and I split toned it in thiocarbamide. That got first award with a red sticker. This is what got occasionally get awards, but not very often. Here's a portrait of a guy I did for him, indoors with a Hasselblad. That's with me 180mm CFI Sonar on FP4, dated 1996. He didn't know the film was out of date, just that he got some good sharp snaps from me. That's all he worried about. He didn't worry how old the film was. Did the results come out? Oh, here's one of my done one at Whitby. That's been a red filter held over. As I showed you my show on the expensive box, you don't need to buy expensive filters, you can hold ones over. That's holding over the Russian red filter. Taken at Whitby, storm approaching. That's done quite well. And oh, using up a Hasselblad. I mean, another one of my wife's lilies with flash. Hasselblad with a short extension tube that I bought in Hong Kong on a stopover. It wasn't cheap in Hong Kong. You don't get cheap things in Hong Kong in the camera shops anymore. It got a first and third place in competitions. Now the last one here on the Hasselblad. Oh, here we are. Walking through the churchyard in Brentwood. I liked all the vapour trails above the church. What did I call that one? Heavenly Trails. That's a good title, isn't it? I don't know. I'll just show you a few Rolly ones quickly, in case you're going to sleep. I don't want any of my viewers to go to sleep, so I won't keep you too long. Here we are. That's been toned. This is a place called Bliss Hill, in Shropshire. They all dress up, and it's lovely to photograph there. I've got another one from Bliss Hill. We Rolleiflex. This is me 2.8F planar candle maker in Bliss Hill, taken with a Sunpack flash. And here we are. This is misty scene on the River Chelmer in Chelmsford, a couple of anglers. That's Rolleiflex 3.5 F-planar. I showed these in my lecture on my 4 Rolleiflexes. I showed you all the cameras, but this is a Rolleicord 5B with a 16 on back, and which I got off eBay cheap, and it was on XP2 400, out of date because I bought a load of it. Then all the work dried up and I was left with 100 rolls of film with no work. I only use it for club stuff now. And that was on Barfin normal stipple paper. But that's done very well. It's been in the Amateur Photographer magazine, been exhibited at the Malden Challenge Trophy, and I thought that came out very well on a 1940s event through the window at the Severn Valley Railway. And there we are, folks. I think I've actually run out, so I hope you've remained awake rather than dozing off during my lecture, and I hope you've enjoyed this part 2 of my exhibition prints. So they're not all winners, but what's it matter if you enjoy taking them? That's the main thing. Thanks for watching.